what's up, guys? So with Marvel Studios, it looks like they're going to be making some changes with their television department, especially with their upcoming MCU projects, and even with those like down the road, and even with Daredevil Born Again, and that was shooting earlier this year, and apparently it's shut down. But now, breaking within like the last couple of hours from the Hollywood Reporter, that apparently with the Daredevil show, it's going into a full-on creative reboot, and with the Marvel Studios, it's apparently going to hit the reset button, and everything is going to a full-on reboot, and with us so much more as well. And that's what the video for guys in this view is breaking down the article from the Hollywood Reporter, is breaking it down to a Marvel Studios is sort of be a revamping it's a television department, and from what we could expect down the road as well. And so if you're new here, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so it's all videos like this. And so let's get into it. And now, as I mentioned, this is officially coming from the Hollywood Reporter, and they are stating that with Marvel Studios, they have let go the writers and directors of Daredevil Born Again. And even though with the show that was filming at the start of the year, but because of the Hollywood strike, they are shut down. But now that they are stating that they're going into a full-on creative reboot, and even with Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios, they reviewed the footage, and they said that the show wasn't working, even though with the Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock wouldn't suit up as Daredevil until episode 4, and then that'll be a letdown to the fans. And even though I didn't let go of their creative team, and now when on the scene with the Marvel Studios, they're now on the hunt for new writers and directors. And I think this is a good thing, because even if they want to do the show right, I mean they better do it like from the source of material, and not something random stuff thrown in there. Even like from the Daredevil show, and even with the show that's going to be a reboot, but even so that they're like doing everything it can to provide the show that everyone loves, especially with Charlie Cox as Daredevil. Even with the Daredevil show being rebooted, that means with the Marvel Studios, they're now scrapping everything and now starting from scratch and getting new writers and directors, and now like starting over for what they previously did, and then now they're going to turn this whole thing into a full-on reboot. And I think this is like a good thing, and even with the Daredevil show, I can like basically start over. And even as you stated right here, and that with the Daredevil show, they described it as a legal procedure, and not to reassemble the Netflix show, and which this is something that the fans love, and even with the violence over there as well. But even with the Daredevil show and how the Disney Plus was going to handle it, but now it seems that it might be going a different way. And now that with the Marvel Studios, they're now on the hunt for new people to write and direct the series. And next, what they also added here is that with Marvel Studios, they're focusing on hiring actual showrunners that will work on pilots and so much more. And on top of that, they're also like planning on stepping away from limited series television and focusing on multi-season television, and as well as meaning that with the 6 episode like high budget shows that we're used to getting, and even like from like the past year with Phase 4, and even with that as causing some complaints with the fans, is that they don't really satisfy fans towards the end, or never really guaranteed like another season or so. Like, is that with Marvel Studios, like they are now planning on a multi-season television, especially with these like random characters in like Phase 4, and that were somehow introduced, are now getting their own TV shows. And with the Marvel Studios, that they're spreading themselves out too thin and just putting out too much, and now they're focusing on like a multi-season television, and which is something that us fans and the ones that they can focus, so they can focus on quality over quantity. And to me, I think that this is like a good thing. And so now we don't have to worry about a limited series, and giving these shows a chance to shine. Even as we take a look at the entire like Phase 4 and 5 as a whole of the multiverse saga, is that even though with these characters that have their own Disney Plus shows, like they're not guaranteed like another season, or where and the next like there's like a blank like out in the open. And now with Marvel Studios, that's focusing on this multi-season format, it's gonna be so great. So now like they can continue on with their characters and find out like where they end up next. I think that this will be a good thing, especially for the fans, and that they'll be able to want to watch the shows. So like how to make a good TV show and even having multiple seasons. And on top of that, they also said that with the creative team that works at Marvel on the TV side, they complain about the lack of vision, especially with the creative differences and tension. And even as we look at the past Phase 4 projects, it sort of felt disconnected and never really satisfied the fans towards the end. And even with those past projects, especially within the last year, it sort of felt sloppy. Plus, I was not a fan of She-Hulk. And even as we look at Secret Invasion, for example, it had a promising start at the start of the show and never really satisfied fans. So towards the end, it gives an not so good looking product. And even with the fans that were complaining that with the Marvel Studios, they should stop doing the 6-episode high budget shows. They're not with it. And even with the Marvel Studios that's all coming out and now reevaluating the way they're doing TV shows and even having a multi-season television. And even so I think this will be a big game changer for Marvel Studios and the future of the MCU moving forward. Even as we look at Marvel Studios as a whole and the way they made their TV shows, they had to rely on so many things. They had to rely on post-production and reshoots to fix what was not working, and they didn't hire actual showrunners and instead relied on film executive to run their series, and that's what totally went wrong, especially with the later Phase 4 shows, and never really ended up satisfied fans towards the end. And even now, Marvel Studios is now actually having a plan where things are going on moving forward, especially with their TV shows and the way that they want to run it on the Disney Plus to not repeat the same thing and that happened with Secret Invasion and give us an actual pure quality good TV show with having multiple seasons. And yeah, so my biggest takeaway from this is that I'm glad that Marvel Studios is now having a plan of what they're going to do moving forward, especially for how they're going to make their TV shows for Disney Plus, and even with their characters, and even for what they decide to throw in the future of the MCU, and it's giving them a pure quality content, and it's awesome shows moving forward and having actually make sense, and even not having to rush their stories, and having fans satisfied with the final product towards the end, and even having multiple seasons instead of relying on a limited series where these characters are going next in the future of the MCU, especially for the next two Avengers films for the King Dynasty and Secret Wars, and even with Marvel Studios is now going to change up things. I'm glad that this is happening, and even as we look at Loki season 2 right now, I mean that was guaranteed season 2 many years ago, but even as we look at other shows that had a limited series or never really guarantee another season by the actual studio, but I'm glad they're going to decide to do this moving forward. And yeah, so my final thoughts are that I'm glad this is happening. I hope Marvel Studios they now have a clear plan for what to do moving forward, and now they're changing things up, especially for hearing complaints and backlash from the fans about with their TV shows and even having a limited series, and even with the Daredevil show as getting a full creative reboot and pressing the reset button. And I'm glad they're going to reset some of everything that happened in the Netflix show, and even with Disney Plus and the fans were worried and they wouldn't do all the violent stuff that happened in that show, but I'm glad they're doing it, and now there's simply a clear direction moving forward, and I hope that Marvel Studios in the near future, especially with their upcoming shows as well. So yeah, I'm very excited. A new plan is now being adapted into this as well. And so that's gonna be the first video, and let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below, and what your thoughts on the Daredevil show being rebooted, and even with the Marvel Studios as reevaluating the plan for television, and with everything else moving forward. And let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe and turn on the notification bell for your videos, and also follow my socials, which are linked down below. And with that, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.